New immigrant. Ahmed is a civil engineer. He worked and lived in Dubai. He studied civil engineering in Egypt and have worked on a dam project in Egypt and managed a bridge construction in Malaysia. He moved to Dubai with his family as an expat and managed high-rise construction projects and completed a beverage production line. On a friend's request, he applied for Express Skilled Worker Immigration Program and approved for immigration visa to come to Canada. He and his family are very excited about moving to Canada. Upon arrival into Canada, he looks into finding jobs so he can support his family in new country. He sends application to many organizations but never hear from them. Finally, from the local library, he learns that there is a hiring event, and finally, after months of struggle, he lands his first job.
As he joins the office, he figures out he's the only immigrant employee. First few days are fine, but gradually he notices that his coworkers are not very friendly with him and make jokes at his accent. He's frustrated and angry and doesn't know what to do.
On the world stage, Canada is respected as a leader in immigration policies, noting that immigrants play a key role in the social and economic success of the country. Drolet and Koshik, 2018. Despite this, many new immigrants find discriminatory hiring practices which impede their success. Quillian et al., 2019. In comparison to the United States, Canada ranks third in discriminatory hiring practices when compared to Belgium, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, and the United Kingdom. Quillian et al., 2019. This statistic brings to light an issue of social discord that exists in Canada for new immigrants. An essential part of settling into Canada is the support that is expected of Canadians to help citizens adapt to a new culture. And while immigrants often face a lack of recognition of their credentials, it is the social exclusion from non-immigrant Canadians that compounds the problem. Drolet and Koshik, 2018. Despite being highly educated, many immigrants continue to face underemployment or severe employment challenges even when meeting the national requirements for permanent residency. Drolet and Koshik, 2018. Often, when gainful employment is attained, the social exclusion immigrants face can contribute to employment discord when the views and values of new employees differ from long-standing employees. How to Reduce Bias in Your Workplace, 2021. In situations like this, people often do not realize the impact of their words and make inappropriate comments. Asking questions such as, "Are you from here?" will often make marginalized people feel like an outsider within their new community. How to Reduce Your Bias? 2021. Employers play a significant role in ensuring that all employees are welcomed into their environments. Often, employers or employees do not identify or report instances of bias resulting in toxic environments. How to Reduce Bias in Your Workplace, 2021. Employers should focus on using inclusive language in all communications in order to engage new employees as part of the community. Bradley Cox et al., 2019. Many people will experience isms based on their culture, religion, gender, or sexuality. Canadian Centre for Diversity and Inclusion, 2022. How do we encourage organizations to reflect on their own hiring practices and biases to identify ways in which they can ensure a safe and positive workplace for all employees? As with students, employers have an obligation to support the intersectionality of their employees and to educate all members of their organizations on the importance of cultural diversity.
It is imperative for workplaces to recognize that many systemic barriers continue to persist for racialized groups. This quote is taken from page 10 of the document released in July of 2018 by the Canadian Centre for Diversity and Inclusion titled Navigating Race in Canadian Workplaces. It is clear from our story that systemic racism and racial bias still exist in Canada. These companies have to acknowledge that everyone has a racial bias, and why it is so challenging to address these biases, as stated by Dr. Robin DiAngelo in the video, Why Are White People So Bad at Talking About Race? One solution this video speaks to help companies overcome this challenge, is to redefine what it means to be racist. Dr. DiAngelo states that if you believe racists are mean individuals who consciously don't like people based on race and intentionally seek to harm, when someone's actions or words are then called out as being racist, the accused automatically feels like they are being called a bad person and their morality is being challenged. So if this is the definition of racism that companies adhere to, then it may prove difficult to implement effective anti-discrimination or anti-racism programs by the company. Instead, companies must acknowledge the hidden biases we all carry before correcting them in the workplace. One of the major themes outlined in this document is to create an environment for open conversations about discrimination and racism in the workplace. This includes a Spotlight Lived Experiences, where employees are encouraged to speak about their workplace experiences as a minority through panels, blogs, or discussion groups. This document also highlights the importance of companies to partner with racialized communities or groups when designing an anti-discrimination program, rather than inviting these outside groups after the programs have been developed. This will ensure diverse voices are at the decision-making table from the very beginning. One of the final solutions provided by this document is for companies to be proactive in their diversity inclusion training or company events. If a company only provides training after a negative incident occurs, this allows room for a negative stigma to be attached to the minority group involved. Instead, making diversity and inclusion practices a regular occurrence to ensure a lasting positive mindset towards marginalized workers and their religious and cultural practices in the workplace. It is important to note that the solutions provided in this video are not effective if only one or two are implemented by an employer, but that all are implemented simultaneously and revisited regularly to make appropriate changes when needed.